Hello, friends. It's Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the Haydn Symphony Crusade. And we're getting close to the promised land. We're up to Symphony number 79. We're already in the promised land. We've been in the promised land since Symphony number 1. Who are we kidding? This is an amazing symphony, though. Number 79 in F major. And it's scored for the gradually enlarging Haydn symphony, the symphony force type thing. It's like a flute and double pairs of oboes and bassoons and horns and strings. And I got to tell you, this is such a great symphony. It's amazing to me that it's not more popular. It really is, because it's a joy from the first second till the very end, and so much fun to listen to, so much fun to follow. It's just a miracle of construction and expressive exuberance. You feel so good when this symphony is over. Trust me. I mean, it's like a new lease on life. I don't even know how else to describe it. But it's one of 3 symphonies that Haydn wrote in 1784 for performance in 1785 in Vienna. And the truth of the matter is, at this point, as I pointed out in the last mentioned in the last batch of 3 Haydn symphonies, which were written for the trip to England that never happened, Haydn had now realized that he was like really popular. And his style became bigger, more open, just joyous and all-embracing and universal. He was still writing for his patron, Prince Esterhazy. He was. But at the same time, he was also writing for the wider public that he didn't know but wanted to reach. And so these symphonies have they're just conceptually bigger. There's more in them than in the previous symphonies. And I don't mean that the previous symphonies were in any way diminutive or lacking in something. It's just it's like having, a fabulous meal with an extra course. A 6-course meal instead of a 5-course meal. But they're wonderful meals. It's fabulous. It's filling. It's satisfying. It makes you happy. But there's just more stuff. And this is an absolute case in point, this symphony, because, it also tells us something wonderful about Haydn's relationship to the, concept of sonata form, which we talk about all the time, which Haydn theoretically invented, but which he did invent, but not in the way people think he did. Because this piece is, well, let me put it to you this way. It's a musical Lego set. What Haydn has in this symphony is a series of little musical building blocks, little Lego things, and he builds the whole symphony out of them. Every single movement. I mean, they're all related to each other, and in such a wonderful, wonderful way, because the particular Legos that he uses are unique to this symphony. And so they can't be assigned to anything else. Anyway, how does he do it? Well, first of all, the symphony has a motto. Now, in romantic music, when a symphony has a motto theme, it's usually a big, long tune. And that big, long tune, like in the Franck Symphony, da 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 da, something like that. Or Tchaikovsky's Fifth, ya da 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 dum bum ba da 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 dum bum. Motto, big tune. Well, Haydn doesn't operate that way. First of all, he's working on a much, much, much smaller scale. This symphony is about 20 minutes long. If you take all the repeats, you could add 3 or 4 minutes. So it's not a big, huge, huge piece. It's very concise, as Haydn's music always is. He wants you to be enormously entertained in a short period of time. So there's that. So you're not going to have that kind of motto and cyclical form. With Haydn, he presents a theme at the very beginning of the symphony, and that symphony is full of little construction objects. And the objects are the motto. It's what he builds it out of that he's going to use. So you're not going to hear that theme elsewhere. You will hear the things of which it is made elsewhere. So I'm going to play the motto. I'm going to just play the motto. Let's listen to it and get right to it, because I've got a ton of musical examples, and we're going to hear whole movements and things which we haven't done in a while. we just have to. You can't really miss or leave out anything in this symphony because it's all so closely and tightly constructed and so various. That's what's amazing about it, is that Haydn takes these little building blocks and turns them into a huge emotional range of stuff. So this is the opening. Just listen to this. It's not long. It's very simple. It's gracious. It's lovely. Aha! That's the first part of the theme. The first part of the theme contains the squiggle. In fact, this should be called the Squiggle Symphony. It really is, because it's all about the squiggle. It's dun dun ba da da dum, that dun dun da 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 dum. That's a squiggle. So it's yum bum ba da da dum bum ba da da da. Remember that, because that dum bum ba da da dum is going to be everywhere. It's all over the symphony, and especially the ba da da da, the squiggle part. Squiggles everywhere. Squiggly, squigitudes, squiglosity, squiggliciousness. It's just amazing. So that's the squiggle. Then the second half of the theme repeats the first, but with a different ending. Ya da 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 da, ya da da dum bum ba da 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 dum bum bum. That's a tag. There are two tags actually. Dum bum ba da 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 dum. The dotted, it's what we call a dotted rhythm. Ja da 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 da, because of the way it's notated. But you've got that march-like rhythm, and then just those three notes at the end that seem sort of an appendix. Jump, jump, jump. They're just sort of attached. Those are, I call them tags, or appendices. But a tag, it's just a nice, short, convenient word. Something that's attached to the end of something or the beginning of something. It could be in either spot. In this case, it's at the end. So you've got a squiggle, and you've got a dotted rhythm, bum ba-dum ba-dum, and you've got a tag, chunk, 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 that seems extra at the end of the tune. Well, those are, let's put it that way, the building blocks of this symphony. The whole thing is built of those little tiny objects, and God, how he does it is phenomenally, incredibly amazing. So what I want you to do now, is listen. Well, I have one other thing I want to play for you, I think. The second subject. The second subject in the first movement is built out of squiggles and tags. That's all it is. Remember that form of the tag. Three notes rising, going up. The tag will take many forms. The tag can also, a squiggle can be a tag if you attach it to the end of something. We'll hear that too later. But the form of the tag, it is a rising three-note thing, is also going to be very important in the symphony. I'm going to play you the second subject. Let's just start with that. Then we'll run the whole first movement. I mean, the whole exposition of the first movement, and you'll get a sense of it. But anyway, here is the second theme. See what I mean, though, with themes that have tags? Bum, bum, bum. See, at the end, it's like it's an attachment, an accessory. He's accessorizing his themes. And then, as it goes on, it's ya da 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 da. So you get the tag becomes an actual thematic object all by itself. So those, I'm very excited. You may have noticed that. I'm sorry. I love this symphony so much. It's so incredible and so much fun just to listen to Haydn work with his materials. You know, I mean, people when they listen to abstract music, you know, they say, well, we want to know emotional. Oh, is it happy? Is it sad? Well, yeah, there's that. But then there's the incredible beauty and substance that comes from the appreciation of form, of shape, of all the different varieties of and shades of color. And it's wonderfully orchestrated too, this symphony. By the way, the use of the orchestra is glorious. People don't really think about that. But with these symphonies, with Haydn, you have to, because just as musical objects for themselves, they are so magnificent. They really, really are. So let's listen to the entire exposition now. And you can hear how Haydn takes these little tiny elements, dum-ba-dum-ba-dum, bum-bum, the little three-note tags, the little dotted rhythm, and of course, the squiggle, and constructs an amazing movement out of it. So here's the exposition. Yeah, it's a very good performance, by the way. It's Nicholas Ward on Naxos with the Northern Chamber Orchestra, whatever it's called, whatever they are. They're good. So there you have the exposition. And I want to play, for contrast, the recapitulation, because it tells us something very important about the way Haydn handled sonata forms, which is that, they're supposed to be, we hear in the textbooks, there's like a development section, and then the recapitulation just repeats what we heard at the beginning. No, not with Haydn. Haydn keeps developing. He likes development. He doesn't like repetition. And because he's operating on a small scale, it's only a 6 and a bit minutes long, this movement, another minute if you add the second half repeat, which these folks don't, then you've got just, it's very easy to hear the relationships between things, and he doesn't feel that he has to have like this big, literal repetition on the other side of the recapitulation. I want you to hear this. It's wonderful, this recapitulation, because it goes all kinds of strange places, but finally works its way home. Everything winds up happily ever after. Here it is. God, that's wonderful, isn't it? But there's another reason that this is a very short movement, because it's wrong to think of the development of the symphony as being limited to just a middle section in the first movement, which we didn't hear, and which is also marvelous, by the way. You can hear it on your own. Haydn is developing these ideas, these building blocks, throughout the entire symphony. So he doesn't want a first movement that's like crazy long and that gets you tired and that says everything there is to say about those things. He has more to say, but elsewhere. So it's a very short, or relatively short, first movement. And now the second movement. Oh my God. Is this one of the most incredible movements of the 18th century? I think so. It's a theme in variations, but it only has two variations. Well, 2.5 variations. Let's put it that way. And I'm going to play you the whole movement, but in bits. We have to hear it one piece at a time so you get a sense of how each variation builds on the previous variation, because something absolutely wonderful is going to happen in this movement. And the opening theme consists of, well, dotted rhythms and tags. Dotted rhythms, and it's just a dum ba dum ba dum sort of thing, with the dum bum bum rising 3-note tag thing. Now, the first section, let's just call it the first section, consists of the theme and one variation. But the variations are what they call, well, in this case, if this were an interior variation and not the start of the movement, we would call it a double variation. What happens in a double variation is that you have a variation of the original theme, and then the repeat of the first half of the theme is also varied. So you get like 2 for the price of 1. That's the opening of this movement. It's a 2 for the price of 1 kind of thing. And so listen very carefully. I'm going to play for you the entire first section. It's in AABB form. The theme has 2 parts. Both are repeated, but the repeats are varied right at the start. It's an unusual tactic. And the variation in the start, in the simple opening of this movement, consists of woodwinds doing dum bum bum. Oh yes. And also there's a lead back to the return of the opening theme. Da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, in dotted rhythm. That lead back is very important too. You'll hear it in the woodwinds. It's charming beyond belief. So here is the whole opening thematic complex type thing, which is built out of that, what we heard in the first movement, that ya-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Dotted rhythm and the 3 notes in their rising form, as we heard in the second subject of the first movement. It's all just, it kills me talking about this. Here it is, the entire opening thematic complex. You'll notice that the actual theme, when you hear like just the A section before Haydn varies, it has pauses. And Haydn fills up those pauses with little tags, chung, 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 like that. So that when he fills it up, you've noticed that there was like a void, and the void gets filled, and it just makes you feel so warm and snuggly inside. Don't you love it when your void gets filled? I love filled voids. I hope you do too. So that's the first presentation of the theme, and simultaneously a very, very light variation with just some added woodwind, tags going that way. Now, the first variation, formal variation, is a squiggle variation. It's all squiggles. It has tons and tons and tons of squiggles. It gets more squiggly as it goes. It's the apotheosis of the variation squiggle thing. And I'm going to play you that now. It's relatively brief, and in this case, the lead back part, da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, is given to the cellos and basses, going da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, like that down there. And there's a reason I'm telling you about that. But anyway, just listen to it, and listen to ya-da-da-da-da-dum, bum, ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, wa-da-da-da-da-da. The violins start to just go squiggle crazy. Here it is. As you can see, the squiggle has taken over the movement, and it's alarming how squiggleized it's become. Haydn is about to address that. He addresses it by having a third variation, which is really remarkable. If you remember the horn call symphony, what was the other one in the 70s? 72, I think it was, right? Those symphonies had, theme and variation finales. And at the end of the variations are in a very leisurely tempo. Everyone gets a shot at it. And then finally, there's a quick wrap-up. In Vienna, that was called a Kehraus, a go home. It was also at the end of a ball or a dance thing. The orchestra would play a jazzy little wind-up to get everything done. Well, that's what happens in this movement. Only it's in a most unusual place because there's only been one real variation. And it's so unexpected. What happens is the tempo doubles practically. It's actually marked allegro non troppo. I mean, it's not supposed to be that fast, but it's pretty zippy. And we get a third variation, which sounds like a completely different tune, but it isn't. It's a real variation of the opening theme. In this case, it goes, and the basses go bum 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 bum. That's the linking thing I kept telling you about that went doo 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 doo. Now the cellos and basses are going. Oh God, it's fun. It sounds as folksy and popular as any tune you will ever hear, and it just goes flying along. And what Haydn does in addition to just creating a thrilling variation on the original material and an absolutely wonderful new theme out of it, actually, is that he works out the wrinkles in the music. That is, the dotted rhythm goes away. There's no dotted rhythm in this. It's all fluid. You know, the rhythm is very stable and balanced, and it just feels good. It's such a feel-good moment. This symphony is full of those, you know, and so it ends quickly and loudly. You know, there's a little. It finally sort of tapers down, and there's a cute little violin thing. It's in a little squiggle, a reminder of a squiggle, and then it just ends happily. And I'm going to play with that whole section. So here is the second and last variation, and wow, oh wow, I dare you not to go home whistling this. I played this for a friend of mine, and he was like stuck going. I mean, it really is incredibly catchy. Here it is, the last variation that is built on, well, sort of a squiggle, that sort of da-da-da-da, little bit, but otherwise it seems to be entirely new, but it is a clear derivation of what has come before. Here you go. And that is the slow movement. And if people did not applaud when that was over, something was terribly wrong. You know, nowadays you're supposed to sit at concerts like this, you know, taking in the sublimity of it all and looking miserable. But in Haydn's day, when people heard something they liked, they clapped. They clapped in the middle of movements, and they called encore, and things got repeated. If it was nice, they would go back and play it again. I wish we would do that. I really do. I wish we did that today. Anyway, so that's the slow movement. I mean, isn't that just like fabulously, marvelously amazing? And all of that joy and brilliance is based on the building blocks that we've heard before, that the whole symphony is being constructed out of which the whole symphony is being constructed. Now, the minuet has squiggles at the ends of its phrases and little woodwind tags at the end of its sections. These tags are actually squiggles. I mean, they're squiggles in the form of tags because the music stops and there's a little woodwind tag thing. So I'm just going to play the whole minuet. We don't have to go into it in like excruciating detail. The music is just simple and jolly and totally self-explanatory. But listen for those little woodwind section tags at the ends. And the whole thing ends with a little woodwind squiggle tag. That's what it is. It's a squiggle tag thingy. Here it is. Yeah, see? And the trio section also has squiggles at the ends of all of its phrases. But they don't sound like, the thing that makes this so cool is that, when we point it out, you say, oh, yeah, of course, that's a squiggle. We've heard these squiggles. They all sound different from the other squiggles in the symphony, and they all sound completely appropriate where they are. It never sounds like Haydn is exhausting the possibilities of his material or just repeating himself mindlessly. He's not. He's making new themes. These are all new ideas, but they're built out of some familiar shapes. That's all. And that's what keeps them fresh, but at the same time, familiar. So here's the trio melody. It's quite short and delicious, and here it is. Which brings us to the finale. Okay, now the finale is the absolute apotheosis of squiggletude. You have never heard more squiggleosity than you will in this finale. I mean, it's the main theme is dot dot. I mean, it just goes off squiggling, and that's what it does. It's a rondo, meaning it has the shape A B A C A, and the first episode, the B episode, is in a minor key. At least it starts that way, with a decidedly Hungarian kind of flavor to it. That's really lovely. And the second one, I need to do a little intro to, because the second one is the tag. It's the three rising da da da. Remember that da 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 from the second subject of the first movement? Well, here is the second subject of the first movement, followed after a little pause that I put in by the second episode in the finale, so you can hear that it's the same thing. That ya da da. That's the idea, and Haydn is bringing it back from all the way in the first movement. Just so you get the idea of how connected everything is. Here it is. So there's that. But after that, we have to listen to the whole movement. And what you need to pay attention to, in addition to that little bit, which you will hear in the second episode, is the fact that the tag, remember the three-note tag, does not necessarily have to be at the end of the theme. It could be at the beginning. And that's what Haydn does in this finale. It's not just the apotheosis of the squiggle. It's the apotheosis of taglosity, of the tag, that chun-chun-chum, chun-chun-chum, chun-chun-chum. It's wonderful the way he plays with that, because that introduces the theme, and you never know how many times you're going to hear it. And it's always these three notes, chunk, 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 chunk. Sometimes you hear it once, sometimes you hear it twice, sometimes you hear it 5 times, sometimes it's different every single time. So you never know when the theme is going to reappear. And the most wonderful thing is, towards the very end, see if you notice it, Haydn takes one note off of that three-note tag. Instead of chunk, 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 he just leaves off. And oh, what a wonderful touch that is if you notice it. It really is. I mean, you just hear that and you go, oh. Oh, that is so clever. That's so witty. It's funny. It's Haydn at his most humorous and delightful. He's playing with our expectations. So I'm going to run the whole movement now. You've got tags. You've got squiggles. We've worked out the dotted rhythm business. That's not in here. After the second movement, that sort of goes away, and Haydn works with the other two basic building blocks of the symphony. And oh, what a joyous thing this is, too. Here you go, the finale of number 79. But you see, everything about it is new. The themes are new. The way Haydn is using his tags are new because it's the beginning of the theme rather than at the end of the theme. I mean, even where he's repeating things that we've already heard, it all sounds new. And that, my friends, is what makes this symphony such a fabulous example of Haydn's perpetually youthful genius. The idea that something that's always fresh and always different sounding and always special can be so tightly constructed out of familiar elements. I mean, that's what Haydn did more than anybody else. So I hope you guessed, I adore this symphony, and I hope you will love it as well as I do, and give it listen, the whole thing. Just sit down on your tuchus and listen to it. It's good for what ails you. You're going to be a better person on the other side, I guarantee. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Number 80 is next, and that is one of Haydn's funniest ever pieces. It's hilarious. Take care.